So we are back with a infamous Rack and Stack, are we not, Brother Wes?
We are, and I got to tell you, it's been a while since we've done 3 in a row.
I know. I'm kind of geeked. I'm excited.
It is exciting.
I think we should go for a marathon, like do 12 someday or something. What do you think?
I got to tell you, we did 5 once.
Never again.
Was it 5 or was it 4?
It was 4 or 5, but it was 5.
It was 5, and 5 was rough. We decided that 4 was without a doubt the max, but 3 is the sweet spot.
Sweet spot. 4, I was really tiring of it. Not the guest, just the process. The 5th one, I just was hoping that we'd have a severe thunderstorm and lose power. Then I'd have an excuse to quit.
I think the 5th one, everybody was on like some sort of a autopilot, because even I, where I don't even have to talk during these, I was like, oh my gosh, 5, this is cuckoo.
Yeah, that was crazy. But today we're going to have a really fun one. The first one, Lisa Ryan, she's not only does she have one of the coolest names out there, Strategy, which we'll talk about what that means. We'll leave that for her, but she's a keynote speaker, a podcast host herself, an author. We'll talk about that some, a sales strategist. And Lisa and I met through a mutual friend at the NFBA show in Knoxville. She's good friend with Marvin Montgomery, the Marvinator. And
right. Get
Marvinized. And we met. I think she spoke right after Marvin, and I introduced Marvin for one of his talks, and that's where we met. And I loved her talk. Very, very incredible speaker. And I just said, then we got to get you on. And she said yes, and we're finally getting to it. So I got 2 thoughts. We can talk for a while, you and me, or we can go get Lisa. What do you think?
Let's go get Lisa, because if she followed Marvin, then I know I can't hold up. So let's go.
Oh, I can't even hold up. We may just put her on.
Great.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
Boom, there we are. Woo! How you doing, my friend?
I am doing fantastic. How are you today?
Well, I thought about being better, and I thought about it for like an hour, actually, with about the 12th cup of coffee in my coffee shop's mug that I got today.
Oh, there you go.
And I said, I don't think I can do any better, so we'll just go with that.
All right.
It's a wonderful day. Good. Yeah, it's good. We're doing what we love and love what we do, right? So.
Absolutely.
So, Lisa, welcome and thank you for being on. And as I said in the short little intro, it was really fun to meet you in Knoxville. It's always fun to meet a friend of Marvin's. And so tell us a little bit about who in the world is Lisa Ryan before we get started here.
Well, the funny thing about Marvin and I is that we met each other probably, 15 years ago while in networking. And so we were just I was a brand new speaker just getting started. And of course, Marvin was one of those people that I wanted to be like when I grew up. Right. And it was just really fun to reconnect with him, because whenever I'm speaking at an event, I'll go and see who else is on the program with me. And if I know them, I'll send them a quick note. Oh, I'm so excited to see you. So I reach out to Marvin on LinkedIn, and we had the best dinner together, because he's not used to sharing dinner with other speakers and sharing war stories,
right?
Because a lot of times it seems all glamorous and stuff, but I have a lot of dinners by myself. If there's not an event dinner going on, then it's just really fun to hang out with a friend. So that's what I get to do. I am a professional speaker, consultant, really helping people, particularly in manufacturing, construction, and the skilled trades, to keep their top talent from becoming someone else's.
And that is so important, right? Because, and I love that subject, and I know you touched on that quite a bit in Knoxville, and I think it's so important, because we all worry. I think businesses all worry about, how am I going to find the next talent? How am I going to find the next person? But they forget sometimes that maybe that person they're trying to find is already there. So why don't we worry about not losing some of the top talent, as opposed to always losing people and spending the enormous amounts of time and money and lost opportunities searching out new people, right?
Right. And it doesn't really take that much. We're all starved for this just this basic human connection that the people that we're working for care enough about us to invest in us, to know our names, to know a little bit about us. All these little things, it's just that interaction. I can't tell you how many times I talk to people and they're like, oh, it's about the money. I can't afford to pay all these people and I can't find anybody that wants to work. Nobody's loyal anymore. And what I really want to say is, oh, honey, they're leaving you. But that's my inside voice. And so I don't say it.
I like your inside voice because I hear a lot of outside voices from people, and I don't like outside voices. They scare me. I bet your outside voice would be scary, but no, I think you're right, because I can think of a lot of times in the 4+ decades in this crazy business that I've been in, which is the construction world, products and components, that you get really good people that you're going, why are they gone? And you're going, they did a great job, and it really, I think what you just hit on is that's an excuse, right? Well, it's just the money and I can't pay it. It's probably a small percentage money, maybe a little, but a lot of it is, well, the things that you just said, right? Is, do I feel appreciated? Do I want to be here? So what do we do? What do business owners do to avoid that? First, they have to understand it even exists, right?
Right. Well, and that's the thing. Once you get above market wages, so it's really important to know what's going on in your neighborhood as far as what other organizations are paying. And you don't have to be in that top 90 or 100% of the best paying organizations out there, but we want to be close to what the market is, because we measure ourselves by money. And a lot of times, especially in this post-pandemic economy that we're in, I mean, money is, everything has gone up, face it. And so people need that extra push. But then again, I can't tell you how many times I'll be in an event. One of the ones that really sticks with me is that there was one person in my audience, he said that they had an 85% boomerang rate, meaning that 85% of the people that left their organization wanted to come back. Because what happens is employees think that they have an awesome job and they're like, oh, all jobs must be awesome. So then they fall prey to another competitor down the street or somebody else that's offering them a ton of money. And they're like, I'm going to go there and it's going to be awesome and I'm going to make a lot more money. And then they go to the other place and they're like, oh, that's why they have to pay me so much money. And then they want to come back for as much as they were making before. So I've had people that have shared with me that they took a job for 30% less than what they were making before, and they're beaming because they're just so darn happy in a workplace culture where they feel appreciated and valued, and that they're contributing to something that's bigger than they are.
Wow, that's a big hit. That's a big hit. 30% is a lot of money. I don't care what level you're at. That's sizable. But it really it paints a picture. And I thought about it often, and you do such a great job of bringing it to light. Is we spend so many hours at work, so many years at work, so many decades at work, that you better sort of mantra that Wes and I use a lot is love what you do and do what you love, right? And
Right.
if you're not doing that, you just hit on it. I love that, is there's probably no amount of money that's going to make that particularly enjoyable. Now, I don't know. There's certain things you pay me $12 million, I could find that would make me happy, right? But beyond that, I'll find a way to be happy probably. But you know what I'm saying? In the real world, it's just I think a lot of employers forget that they think it's a small aspect, but it's way bigger than it is than they realize, right?
Well, and you look at the health impact of a toxic work environment, where not only are you going to have people calling in sick more often because they can wake up in the morning and they're like, oh, today's going to suck.
Yeah.
I don't feel well today.
Yeah.
Or they're going to be like, this is going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to going to work. But when we look at the burnout factors, when we look at just the mental stress that it's taking, that when we don't sleep well at night because we're so worried about going to work the next day because we know it's going to be terrible, all of these things play a role. And I think about one of my friends, and he believes that he is stuck in a job that is just, it's horribly toxic, but he's been there about 30 years and he's in his late 50s. So he's using all of the excuses. I have a daughter in college, that he can't leave. And I just look at the toll that it's taking on him. It's like, going somewhere else to make less money versus dying of a heart attack.
Right.
There's something to be said for that. And I even look at my own husband, who left a really toxic workplace 4 years ago, and the difference that workplace culture makes. I mean, he's just so darn happy now. Yeah. And it's made it completely, mentally, physically, everything is better because he's happy at work, which, like you just said, we spend so much of our time at.
Well, exactly. And not only so much your time, but in most cases, a large percentage of our network, our friends, come from the workplace, either directly from where you work, or customer friends you meet, or suppliers or vendors you meet. But a lot of not only is it goes beyond just the 8 hours a day or 9 or 10 hours a day at work. They become your extended family, your friends, right? And so if you're not happy for 8 hours at work, you're probably not going to be happy that 4 hours at the bar after work with the same knuckleheads that you don't like to be around all day at work, right?
Well, the interesting thing about friends at work is that's one of the Gallup Q12, when they talk about the 12 statements that you can tell that employees are engaged at work. And one of them is, I have a best friend at work. And Gallup, of course, is very specific with their language. They don't say good friend. They don't say people I tolerate. They say best friend. Because even if the workplace is relatively toxic, or we don't have the best boss in the world, but my BFF works with me, it's going to make it more difficult to leave. So that's some of the other things that I share with my audiences is, how are you creating the environment where friendships happen? Where people can relate to each other and find out things, and find out interesting comments, interesting backgrounds about people. You can do that super easy with a newsletter, highlighting people, sharing what people are doing, sharing some of the, hobbies and stuff, so that you can find those connections and build those relationships too, because that's super important.
So in lacking or taking a dangerous road here, getting all touchy-feely here for a minute, culture, community, family, all buzzwords that get used, but it sounds like you're saying those kind of matter.
They matter so much. And especially, we're looking at the generations, the newer generations, younger millennials, Gen Z coming in, and they have different expectations in the workplace. And so when I hear people saying, well, I don't want to coddle these people and all this stuff. No, you're recognizing people for doing good work. You're educating them, you're investing in them, so you have a better crew of people who have more talent and expertise. So there's and if you look at the numbers behind this, that's what's drives me crazy when people say it's all touchy-feely. There ain't nothing touchy-feely about this. When you look at the research behind it, when you look at things like gratitude strategies, which is my company, Gratigy, but of being able to, when employees feel appreciated, how much productivity goes up, how much higher retention is. I mean, we can put solid numbers to every single one of these soft skills and still come out way ahead. And the amount of money that you invest in workplace culture is pennies compared to what it's costing you to lose people. Oh, look at her.
Look at that. Who is that? Who is that? She does exist. She's real.
I am real.
Yeah. After all this, I just thought you was a paid actress. I didn't realize. That's amazing. But it's funny because I just made a note here. By the way, I didn't tell you pre-show, I don't do crossword puzzles. So if I'm looking down writing, I'm not doing a crossword puzzle because they bore me. I'm making notes. I'm circling back. I think about, this takes me way back because I'm older than probably everybody that ever listens to this show, but Remember Ward Cleaver of Leave It to Beaver?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I always like him because I love that show. And that was that back in the day of the old company store, if you will, right? Everybody just went to work at the company store every day, regardless. They're going to go there at 23 years old and they're going to retire at 65 years old and get a watch and a pen and a cake. And that's their life, right? And that's what people's mindset was. And you just touched on a minute ago with the younger generation, whatever that is, probably anybody younger than me, which is everybody. That's not the case anymore, right? People will leave. Let me back up. People aren't married to their jobs typically anymore. Is that correct? And so the key is, what do we do about that?
Well, the interesting thing about that is that employees also see no loyalty from their employers. So where employers are expecting loyalty, I mean, how many times do you go online, just about every day and see this major company laying off 8,000 people and this company coming in and slashing another 6,500 jobs? So if companies want loyalty, they have to demonstrate loyalty. And unfortunately, we're not seeing a lot of cases of that happening until you get into the best places to work, the areas where you can talk to the CEO and they really care about their people and they know their people and they reach out to their people. All of these things that they're demonstrating loyalty. It's funny. I was at Worcester Brush Company. I'm in Northeast Ohio. I was doing a tour there. And the president there, Ben, was talking about the fact that even during the recessions and the COVID, they only laid off in their 40 or 50 year history. They only laid off one person, and he knew her by name. And when they called her back, because their goal was, we can take a little bit of a pay cut, we can cut hours, but we don't want to lay anybody off. And they actually made a big deal when they brought this one woman back, the only person who had ever been on a layoff. So if you're working at a company like that, that that even in hard times, if you're doing the job and you're productive and all of these things, you're helping the company to be better, the company is also going to be loyal to you. So it goes both ways.
Yes. It's, I was thinking about that as you spoke about that, putting something in the sports aspect for a minute. Excuse me. You think about with all this going on, and this is a little switch of a gear, but I think it makes sense to my beady little mind. And if it doesn't, Wes will edit it out because he'll hit that stupid button, which he does a lot. We get 30-minute podcasts, and we usually go for 4 hours, and that's all he can find that makes any sense that I have to say. But anyway, but in sports, like in football right now, college football, there's a lot of people that don't like the NIL money. They don't like the fact that the portal and that kids can there's no loyalty from the kids, right? They'll leave tomorrow. They'll leave tomorrow. They'll leave tomorrow. And I don't love it sometimes either. But the flip side to that is, where's the loyalty to them either? Because the coach does the same thing. He'll leave them mid-season for the next new big gig, right? So right. There has to be, back in the day when you knew every college player, I'm a Michigan fan. When they come as a freshman, you're going to go watch them celebrate their last game, right? You have some of that now, but not near as much as you did because of the portal and all that. But how many times, unless it's a major program, and even there, if you don't win, like if you're not 88% the first year, you're probably gone anyway as a coach. But there is no loyalty there either way either. And I thought it struck me as you said that is we aren't developing loyalty as a society to each other in the workplace, and I think that's important. And so, how does Grategy help that? What's some of do you have some key factors? I do want to get into some of the other things you do too, but what's some key factors for our listeners if they're a business owner to start developing that loyalty and to show the people they have that, and maybe stop the turnover?
Yeah, well, the quick Cliff Notes version of my 6 gears of Grategy that I've been really focusing on most of my programs, because you know what, it works just about all the time. The first one being attitude, realizing that employees have different expectations, putting remote work, putting flexible hours and construction in the same sentence. Before the pandemic, we didn't do that. Now we just figure it out. Then we have appreciation, which is, of course, a personal practice of gratitude. The next gear is access. Are you giving your people access to you? Do you know about them? Do you care about them? Do you spend time with them? But also, do you give them access to the tools and resources that they need to do your job? Are you investing in them? Next, we'll go to applause, which is how are you recognizing people for doing good work? It's a tangible recognition for a job well done. The next one I love is acts of service. And it's important to all generations, but particularly when you look at the numbers for millennials and Gen Z on the Deloitte 2024 generation report, they talk about how 55% of employees will basically check out your mission-driven organization before they even decide to join you. And I think it was like 71% won't even join an organization without some kind of strong mission that makes the planet a better place. Yeah. So it's so much more about here's your salary, here's the benefits. It's the conversations that you have at events like NFBA, where you're having people are sharing their wins and what drives them to be in this business and the satisfaction of seeing that building well done and all of the things. Those are the conversations that people want to get into. And then the last one, accountability. What can we commit to make sure that we are, that this is a process and not just an event that we're going to try one time. Oh, that didn't work and forget about it again.
Yes.
That's another program.
Yes, exactly. Oh, well said. Though that is, I'm going to write those down because I think that's very good. Even in my little world, I don't think we practice those things enough, and I think it's important because, it is way the factor before we move on a couple of things is it's just so much more than just the money. Money's important. We all love money. I kind of dig money. It's kind of how you keep score sometimes, and money can't buy happiness, but it rents a bunch, and right. all the stuff, right? I mean, it's better to have it than not. There's all the things we can say, right? But you hit it so well of, just be happy and enjoy what you're doing every day. Hey friends, it's Randy here, the owner of Source One Marketing, iBuyFromRandy.com, and I got to tell you, we are proud to sponsor the Building Wins Live podcast and vlogcast. We have 4+ decades in this beautiful industry of supplying materials, supplying services, supplying marketing assistance, and we just are proud to sponsor Building Wins Live and some great guests that we have every single week, many of them from our beloved industry and many of them from outside the industry that still bring some incredible content. So make sure to check us out at iBuyFromRandy.com and let us know what you think about this show. For now, thanks for checking this out. Let's get back to the show. So besides a lot of keynote speaking, you do some podcasting, you do the sales strategy. I think you do some coaching with individual companies and that kind of thing. Let's move into a little bit of some of those other areas. Let's tell everybody. I want people to understand who you are because I want you to get like 17 different gigs out of this deal. then you can buy lunch the next time we're together.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
I eat a lot, but
right. I really like working with organizations. A lot of times what happens is I'll be speaking at an association event and people in the audience would be like, that would be really great for my organization. And we look at the full program. Is this a one-time event? We're doing an all-staff day that you do once a year, or is this something that we're looking at a program that's going to really give it the time to build the culture that you want? Because, this isn't a one and done. The other thing that I really like working with is I have different programs when I come in, and I may do one session for managers, supervisors, and owners because they really have a lot more control of the culture. They're setting the tone for the culture. They also have the pocketbook and the resources behind it. But I also love working with the hourly employees, not only giving them strategies that can help them to have less stress and more happiness at home through my gratitude process, but also to let them know that this is something that everybody in the company is going through. Because if you send just your hourly employees, then the attitude is what? Managers don't have to go through this.
Mhm.
And if only managers go to a program, then the employers are like, what? One more program that they know that we know nothing about? So it's changing the conversation, but also realizing that your culture didn't happen overnight, and it's certainly not going to change overnight. So it's making these commitments, these small commitments that you're going to do consistently over the long term, because when you try something new, frankly, you know, your employees don't trust you because you've done this to them before. You've come back from a conference, you know, with all kinds of ideas that need to be done yesterday. And your employees are like, oh my goodness, they just got back from another conference. Let's just ignore everything they say for the next 2 weeks, and then things will go back to normal, because then we give up. But we really need to commit. And also, a lot of times I'll share the apology approach. The apology approach to be able to say, you know, Randy, I have not been letting you know how much I appreciate you, and I'm going to do a better job at that. That's my goal. Because if I come up to you one day and they say, hey, Randy, great job, thank you so much, and I've never thanked you before, you're going to be like, what does she want? If you don't trust me.
Right.
But if I tell you, you know what, I'm sorry, I have not been letting you know just how awesome you are, and I'm going to focus more on that. Now you know that it's coming from me. A little bit of vulnerability there, which is a good thing. But I'm also letting you know that this is my commitment to you for the long term, and not just yet another program.
That's good stuff right there. I hadn't thought about that. See, I would have. I've learned a lot today, but that's a new one, because I would have thought, and I'm sure a lot of people have thought that out of the blue, hey, I just want to thank you, would come across as more genuine. But now I see what you're saying is that it would after you've built the trust, right?
Right.
But if you've never done that before, and you're basically this grumpy old guy or this grumpy old gal and never appreciate anything, and all of a sudden you just blurt that out, you're right. I could see where, you know, what do they want? That's just odd. But if you start seeing it, and I think people love to have a little pat on the back. They love to have a little, as you said, appreciation for what they're doing. And I think that's good stuff. I love it. I love it. So tell me, rumor has it, and it's not a rumor because I've seen it, but that you wrote a book.
Yeah, I've written 12 of them.
I knew that. I knew it was more than one. I didn't know it was 12. Okay. Wow. I got a little catching up to do. I'll get to work. Tell us about, well, the one we got popped up on the screen here, since it's there and Wes is doing his magic. And you got it. Look at that. Amazing.
Yeah, thank you very much. Is Gratitude Strategies to Create a Workplace Culture That Rocks. And the thing I like about my books, well, I write books the way that I like to read them. So short, sweet, to the point. Let's, you know, get the information. But with this particular book, it is really going through the table of contents and seeing what you need. So strategies to design your employee recognition program. Train your leaders well to increase retention. I love this one. Sometimes I just get a kick out of my chapters. The chapter is No Employee Ever Quit Because of Too Much Training. And that's something to remember.
That's good.
But, you know, you can go in there and say, you know, what do I need? There's a really great chapter on the exit interview may be too late. Try a stay interview instead. So, and for people who aren't familiar with that term, exit interview, most of us know, person leaves, we find out why. But I also think it's a little late. It's like, hey, why are you leaving?
You know what?
Stay interview is what keeps you here. What do you like about your job? Why would you leave? You know, what resources do you need? But you have those one-on-one conversations. And again, employees feel that they're included. They feel that you care enough about them to ask, and there's a better chance you're going to keep them.
Yeah, I love that stay interview, because, you know what, I laughed when you started talking about exit interview, because there's two thoughts that popped in my head with that. One is way too late now, and that's all about you, not about me. If you just got rid of me,
yep,
that's like, why do I want to talk to you? You know,
Right.
and I think a lot of employees would say, exit interview. I think we had that when you said you're fired, pack your stuff. That seemed like the exit interview. That seemed like the only exit view you get or interview you're getting from me, right? Yeah, but you haven't built any. It's again, it comes across as, yeah, we're going to get rid of you, but I want you to help me one last time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how about no? Right.
Yeah. Well, and for the employees that quit, if you do an exit interview, it will show a pattern. Maybe a particular manager's name keeps coming up, which is why the employees quit, or a particular lack of resources, whatever it is. So we can listen to them and address those challenges. But frankly, sometimes just going to websites like glassdoor.com and seeing what employees are writing about your company and not only responding to those Glassdoor comments, remarks, but also doing something about it, to be able to say, hey, you know what, we saw this comment. This is what we're working on right now. Because otherwise, I, as an employee, potential employee, I'm going to look at your Glassdoor, and if there's a whole bunch of negative comments that management or HR didn't even care enough to respond to, I'm like, oh, you're not even going to know that I exist, because I am never putting in an application.
Huh, that makes sense. So, and just the sheer fact that there's issues isn't as important as does somebody address and acknowledge.
Yeah.
And because I think most people understand there's two sides to a lot of things, right? There could be disgruntled employees that just aren't going to be happy regardless. But if management or HR address that, and there was, at least it does, you're right, it does show people that, okay, maybe I'm still willing to give them a shot here because at least they address the issue.
Yeah.
Not,
and
so.
they know it could be it could be that toxic employee who's just trying to diss them online so that they, that it makes trouble for them. You do have people out there that do that. So in addressing it, but also showing the humility that we know that this has been a problem in the past and we're addressing it. It's like, oh, you know what? That place may be worth checking out.
Yeah, keeps you in the game at least at that point, right?
Exactly.
I love it. So when did you write Thank You Very Much? That's your latest, right?
Yes, thank you very much. Well, my Gear Up for Greatness was my latest book that came out a year ago in August. Thank you very much, I believe, was in 22. And they're my two favorite books. The thing that's interesting with Gear Up for Greatness is that was my very first business fable. I've always wanted to write fiction, and I finally sat down and did it. So we cover the 6 gears of gratitude in this. But the thing I love about Thank You Very Much is it's just so darn useful. I mean, it's, you want to learn something, you go to that chapter, you get refreshed on what you need, and you're done. So that is between the two books. But I don't know. We're not supposed to have favorites, but
right.
You
kind of do. You kind of do. I only have one producer director, Wes, but he'd be my favorite if I had two. Just in fairness. So, how do people get hold of your books?
They are all on Amazon. Just Lisa Ryan and putting in Gratitude, because there are a couple other Lisa Ryans out there. Actually, I think on LinkedIn, there's about 1,200 Lisa Ryans. So thankfully, in a lot of cases, I am the number one Lisa Ryan on LinkedIn.
There you go. I love it.
When I wrote my very first book back in 2011, there was another Lisa, the most popular Lisa Ryan at that time was a minister on the 700 Club. So she had all kinds of books.
Oh, yeah. That's
took
awesome.
me a while to take her out, but I think I have more now.
Way to go. Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, so where's people going to find you next? And we'll get you out of here because you got lots to do besides talk with us. But where are we going to see you on the speaker trail next? What's next for Lisa?
Well, my starting next week is when busy season starts, because I speak at so many industry trade shows, and fall is really jammed for that. So next week I'm going from Chicago to Washington, D.C., Then I'll be in Savannah this week. I'll be in Louisville twice in October, once in November. It's interesting for like some years, New Orleans will be the hot place to speak. Other years, Vegas. This year, for some reason, it is Louisville, Kentucky.
Really?
Is a hot place for people to have their events. So yeah, it's I get to go to Phoenix. I get to go to Key West. I just got back from Seattle. That was a great trip. My husband and I actually made a long weekend out of it because he'd never been to Seattle. So,
okay.
Yeah, I will be around.
A lot of opportunities. So as we wind down, hey, thank you so much for jumping on. I next time I'm in town to see Marvin, says Marvin and I did meet for what did we do? We met for lunch.
Oh, I'd love
Cracker
that.
Barrel, and I believe that we have another pal, Gail Kersner.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Gail, shameless pal from Motor. Gail edited my book for me, and we ended up at the wine place. Big surprise, Dr. Pepper man that I am. But in Cooper's Hawk, they're in. You know where I'm talking about.
Beechwood, yeah.
Beechwood, yes. Yep. First time I met her. So it's funny how many mutual acquaintances that we have in the Cleveland area. So. Maybe we'll have a summit or something. I don't know. We'll take over Cooper's Hawk and just do 12 hours of speeches or something.
There you go. And eat some really good food.
Really good food, and maybe have a glass of Cabernet or two or something.
Yeah,
so as we wind up, everybody knows the frequently asked question, but Wes likes to do a should ask question. What is it that just every day you just wish people would ask you that never do, about either personally, but probably more business, professionally? What do people miss? You just say, God, I talked to them for an hour and a half and they never asked me this. And it could be something I didn't ask. Just don't hurt my feelings.
I think that when it comes to a lot of times when I'm talking about gratitude strategies, I'm talking about it from the business end, but how do I incorporate gratitude personally into my life? And not only do I have a whole program on that, but to basically keep a gratitude journal. I have it next to my on my nightstand. So when I wake up in the morning, before I take that long walk down the hallway, I write down 5 things that I'm grateful for. And I do that just about every day. I've been doing it since 2009. And I don't know how I would have gotten through the pandemic without it. Because the thing that gratitude does, not only does it change the workplace, but it rewires your brain to look for the good. So even when the world was crashing around us all, my business went from thriving to barely surviving, but I was able to find the good because for 11 years before that, I had a daily gratitude practice. So that's my favorite topic to talk about. And that's, I just believe that gratitude, looking for the good in all situations, can not only make us better human beings, but then we bring that person into the workplace and we can all make a difference.
Well said. Well, Lisa, thank you so much. I'm just so glad that we got to know each other and lunch together, Cleveland.
That sounds great.
Whenever we're both in town again, which with our schedule, who knows when that'll be, but we'll plan it. We'll let Marvin arrange that for us. He's good at that. So, all right, Lisa, thank you so much. I appreciate being on. Really good stuff.
You're very welcome.
All right. Cheers. Thanks. All right, folks. That is the one and only Lisa Ryan. And I'll tell you what, if you saw her speak at the NFBA show in Knoxville, then you know what I'm talking about. She was right after Marvin, and we've talked about it. And just such a great talk that not only did I enjoy getting to meet her prior to the show or her speech and after, but her talk was every bit what you'd expect from watching this. So if you get a chance to catch her anywhere, do it. If you get a chance to buy her books, don't use it. Don't leave it a chance. Buy her books. Buy 12 of them. I mean, come on. It's Lisa Ryan, right? How many times? And she's the #1 Lisa Ryan on LinkedIn, so that by itself should be enough. Anyway, thanks for being on today. Appreciate you as always. We're just here loving it, living it, loving it, knowing it. We're loving what we do and doing what we love. We talked about that a lot today, which is really, really cool. And while you're at it, go make today your best day ever. Until tomorrow. Cheers, my friends.